Welcome back to the Unredacted Truth, where we fill in the missing gaps in the world's largest scandals and mysteries. In a world of rumors and theories, my job is simple: uncovering the truth underneath the glitter and the grime. We are exposing a pattern: protection, power, predators, structures built not on justice, but on silence, fear, and impunity. We're not talking theory, we're talking court records, stamps, dates, testimony, and a system that, to this day, continues to fail the public and protect the predators among us. Let's get to it.
On narrative 31 of the Palm Beach original police report of the Jeffrey Epstein criminal investigation, we are looking at the report that started it all. We are going through all the police notes. We are hearing from the initial victims. We've identified 17 victims that were interviewed and spoke with the police during the first round, though we all know there was way more than 17 people for this case. We have so far been introduced to the three initial suspects: Eric Helen, Jeffrey Epstein, and Robson as well. Haley Robson, though, she is a victim, not a suspect in this whole saga. She was a minor when this all began. We have gone through trash pool evidence. We have looked at the search and seizure of the warrant evidence, and as well as the receipts. We've gone through all the different detectives that helped with the original first search warrant that was executed on Jeffrey Epstein's property. And we have also, so far to this point, just got introduced to his starting team, not the finishing team. Some of them don't make it till the end of lawyers. We have Guy Frostin and Alan Dershowitz just joined the conversation. If this is the first time that you're catching us, please hit pause, head to the first video so you can follow the narrative all the way through. We are doing this chronological order to make sure that we can see the entire process. Because, like I've said, and I'll say it again, all the injustices that we felt happened in 2019 and later on were directly because of the decisions that the state attorney's office made during this investigation in 2005. Everything they were doing back then was just based off the files, the evidence, and the investigation that we did in 2005. So this is us going through page by page, note by note. Together, we are going to unseal these files. We're going to reveal the true villains and everything that happened. Thank you once again for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And there is also a Substack that has now and freshly been created. And on this Substack, I do have more long form of the complete edits, keeping the PG rated version for YouTube or Spotify. So on your way to work, YouTube, hit me up. You'll be able to catch up and follow the investigation, the case as well. Alternatively, I will also be posting the show notes on there as well. Before we start and jump back in, I just want to note that there is a lot of emotional and mental sludge that I've had to overcome. It really gets taxing going through this case because it's so depraved and disgusting as well. But I'm really glad that throughout all the BS, we're finally here, that we've come to this place where you and me, together, we go through these files and we uncover what has been hidden from the public forever. That we can finally take the mystique, the BS out of the Jeffrey Epstein thing, because they're hiding so much of it, but it's time to unreveal it. So let me stop wasting more time, or any more time, and let's get to reading the rest of the facts. Let's start off a narrative 31. Okay, so last time we finished off with Detective Rickari, and he was speaking about, let's just reread that last paragraph. On January 3rd, 2006, I received a phone call from ASA Weiss to inform me that she made a telephone contact with Mr. Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz. Again, we are going to go through and do another deep dive of Alan Dershowitz. This time we're going to be reading all the court files and his depositions regarding Jeffrey Epstein and the entire case. We're going to be able to uncover and call out every single lie that he's done by going through the facts facts together. But for now, we get to see Alan Dershowitz's actual involvement in the case, what he did. And at this point, just a little refresher, remember he had sent a package trying to discredit the minor victims, and it was of their MySpaces and trying to kind of paint them in a bad light. And this was being sent directly to the ASA's office, and as well as allegedly, the Palm Beach Police Department, as well as the victims, believed that, and according to Guy Froston, that Roy Black, who was an attorney recommended by Mr. Dershowitz, had assigned, he did assign private investigators. And victims and witnesses were reporting about how they're getting harassed and threatened, and how one of the investigators was trying to impersonate a police officer. And we got to see in the last video, Mr. Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz, try and backtrack and cover his tracks for his uncouth, let's say, very uncouth private investigators. Now we get to go on for the rest of the case. So it looks like today's report starts with Minnow Laurie. Let's say Detective Minnow Laurie, could be an officer, could be a sergeant. Let's get in and see what she has to report. So, Detective Officer Sergeant Laurie Minnow writes, on Thursday, March 31st, 2005, I started conducting surveillance at 358 El Brio. At this point, observed at 11:55 a.m. a tan Altima bearing Florida tags, a black SL bearing Florida tags. And okay, so she's mentioning the cars that she saw in Jeffrey Epstein's driveway. And that was 358 El Brio Way. Just for a little fresher, every time we see a 358 El Brio Way, that is Jeff Epstein's original Palm Beach mansion. Okay, so her report goes on to say, on Friday, April 1st, 2005, I conducted surveillance at 358 El Brio Way and it looks like, second paragraph again, she is noting down the different cars that were observed in the driveway and the roadway around his house. And then her surveillance goes on to April 2nd. Again, same, she is listing the cars that are appearing in the driveway. Now, the gray Camaro. I wonder who owned the gray Camaro, because do their tags get to be redacted while other tags are not? Very suspicious. So, gray Camaro parking in the roadway in front of 358 El Brio, a white female, blonde hair, teens. That's why. Everything that has to do with any of the minor victims is redacted throughout the report. So it goes on to say, so we're a white female, blonde hair, teens to early 20s, thin and tall, wearing a white tank top and short blue jean shorts, exited the vehicle and walked to the rear of the house. Oh, okay. I remember this. This is a victim, and that's her dad's car. Memory coming in. All right. I also observed a red Explorer in the driveway, tan, and then the black Caddy Escalade in the driveway. That's Jeffrey Epstein's car, registered to him. We read that in the reports before. And then it goes on, 11:30, I observed a red Explorer, white female leaving the area, 10 subcompartment on roadway in a red neon bearing Florida tags. So that must be also someone who is identified as another victim. Goes on, then observed 3 white females, approximately 16 to 18 years of age, jogging. All 3 females ran into the driveway. There were 2 with blonde hair and 1 with brown hair. It also goes on, so from the beginning, we now know that there were 75 of them were 60, 517, 616, 418. of them. We all know up to this point, whenever the girls were brought to the house, they would go up the driveway and go into the kitchen. So it looks like she observed them going into the driveway. And I'm sorry, this is April, right? That she says, yeah, this is in April that she watches victims go up into his house. And then it goes on Sunday, April 3rd, 2005, I continued surveillance at 358 El Brea Way. She talks about a tan Honda, the black Cadillac. 9:34, I observed the tan Honda in Road Road, the black Cadillac. Okay. And then the next entry is on Tuesday, April 5th, 2005. I continued surveillance at 358 El Brea. At 10:52 a.m., I observed the red Explorer, area Florida tags, a white Ford, okay. Black Mercedes in driveway being washed by a black male, and an unknown dark car parked in the garage. At 10:59 hours, a blue Chevy Suburban drove to the house at 358 El Brea Way. 11:19, I observed the white Ford truck leave the area and driveway was the pullman. At 11:26, I observed a gray unknown make and model car park roadway. White male got out of car and walked to a house on the south side of El Brea. At 14:06, 14, 13, 14, that is 2:06. We're learning the 24-hour clock together. I observed a red Explorer parked on the roadway, large white box truck parked behind the surveillance Suburban. All right, so that completes Officer, Sergeant, or maybe Detective Lori's Minot's report. Next, we go on to Michael J. Bates. Michael J. Bates looks like he was also assisting with the surveillance, and his report starts on March 31st, 2005. We all know the actual investigation when they first made contact with the parents, and the initial victim A, the 14-year-old, was March 14th, 2005. So it says approximately 1500 hours, that's 3 p.m., while conducting surveillance at 358 El Brea, I observed a black Cadillac, unknown tags, a black Chevrolet Suburban, unknown tags, a black Mercedes parked. These was a tan Honda. Okay. So I think the tan Honda could be, I believe, maybe Nadia's Honda. In the previous videos, it stated who the cars belong to, or maybe in this, because I did do a little scheme of the entire report before we start, like before filming and going through and recording this for all of us to enjoy together. But we'll be able to tell which tags are which either in this video or it has already been established in past videos. Okay. So it goes on at 2000 hours. That's 8 p.m. I observed the black Escalade, black Suburban, and parked. Okay. So talking about cars, on Friday, April 1st, approximately at 1700 hours, I observed, that's 5, I observed the black Escalade and Suburban. Okay, still talking about it. The Camaro, again, that is a victim, and that was her dad's car. The Camaro comes back on April 3rd, I believe we're on. April 1st, I apologize, April 1st. He sees the black Camaro parked at the street in front of the residence at 2200 hours. There was no change. Then 2300 hours. So that's almost 11:30. I observed the black Escalade parked in the driveway. So it looks like, did she sleep over? At 11:30, still no changes observed. So I didn't see it leave or anything. Or potentially didn't mark it leaving. Then the next entry is Saturday, April 2nd, approximately 1700 hours, 5 p.m. Black Cadillac, again parked in the street, tan Honda. So if that was Friday, let's see. So it's the tan Honda, 1805, Escalade, Civic Wear, the position in black Mercedes, Florida Tag were parked in the east driveway. 1920, Escalade, 2330, there are no vehicles observed. So, maybe she did leave and then he just didn't mark it down. Because it says here at 8:30, 100 hours and 30 minutes. I think that's how they say it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I've already said this is a forum where I have a thick skin. Um, thingy constructive criticism, welcome. And I just can't wait, like, to hear your thoughts. I love seeing, reading, and talking to you guys about what you think about this case. Okay, so the next one is at 2100 hours and 15 minutes, I observed black Mercedes four-door in the east parking at 2300 hours, 2300 hours and 15 minutes, and at, let's see, midnight. 45 minutes after midnight. It was the only one observed. Okay, so he doesn't seem to write when they're leaving, but when he observes them in the residence. So that ends the following narrative number 32 about the search and seizure. And once again, the hero or detective, yeah, he was a hero, to be honest. Detective Joe did everything he possibly could to get this pushed through. So now Detective Joe takes over again, and this is narrative number 33. I don't know how she does it. I like how Emily D. Baker, like, she's able to, like, stay still and just face the camera. I'm doing the best that I can, guys. Bear with me and be patient. Okay. Detective Joe takes over, and Detective Joe is narrative number 33 now, and he writes, I made contact with Mr. Redacted, father of victim, who was told that I wish to interview his daughter. He stated he was aware and had spoken with his daughter about the incident. He stated that his daughter had previously told him that she was hired to model lingerie at Palm Beach Mansion. Okay, yes, now I remember this. She's the one her friend took her to meet Jeffrey Epstein. For her friend, first they took her shopping. Then he was like trying to get them to like model. Well, no, he did. He asked her to model what they got. He convinced her to give a massage. She says she did it just once and has never spoken to the girl who brought her to there because she knew what happened to her was wrong. And she wanted to put it behind her. So her story we have heard previously and prior to. Another one. Tea about this is that Alan Dershowitz tried to paint this girl to try and discredit this victim. He said he tried to like paint her as some shoplifter, like a serial shoplifter at Victoria's Secret, and like try like give papers and documents showing that she had been kicked out for shoplifting. First of all, how is supposed to believe you and the fact with your documents about her shoplifting at Victoria's Secret, which is a store owned by Les Wexner? I don't know how far I went. Owned by Les Wexner, buddies with Epstein, and the other part, who Epstein used to send the girls over there to buy lingerie. So we're supposed to believe you, Alan Dershowitz, your paper from Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner's company, about a girl that has been victimized by your buddy and colleague, Jeffrey Epstein. I went on a rant, but Dershowitz tried to paint this victim as a serial shoplifter to try and discredit her in the courts and make her entire experience false. Let's keep going. Okay, he says, so where's the father? The father advised he would cooperate with the investigation and make his daughter available for interviews. I asked if she was available for an interview. He stated she was not at home at the moment. I informed him I would make contact with her at a later time. He expressed his interest in resolution in this matter as he stated this information has affected his daughter emotionally. Like a lot of the girls to this point are like crying, bawling when they try to like recount what happened to them. It's two things that the victims are doing. One, disassociation, denial, trying to say, well, nothing happened. And then when they get the courage and the point of actually saying what happened, the uncomfortability, the trauma is so visible and palatable. Okay, so Detective Joe's report goes on to say, on January 4th, 2005, I acquired the subpoenas from the state attorney's office for Singular Wireless, Metro PCS, Verizon, Bell South Telecommunications, and Sprint for the unknown telephone numbers from Sarah Callan's cellular telephone. The subpoenas were sent to the respective telephone carriers for subscriber information. I received a call from State Attorney's Office who informed me that a former houseman for Jeffrey Epstein, Alfredo Rodriguez, was present at the State Attorney's Office for an interview. Rodriguez was issued an investigative subpoena for an interview on the ongoings at Epstein's house during his employ. I responded to the State Attorney's Office and encountered Mr. Rodriguez waiting in the lobby. I brought Mr. Rodriguez to the interview room. Continues to say, during a sworn statement, Mr. Rodriguez stated he was employed by Jeffrey Epstein for approximately 6 months. He was referred by associates and his employment lasted the months of November 2004 through to May 2005. His responsibilities as house manager included being the butler, chauffeur, chef, houseman, run errands for Mr. Epstein, and provide for Epstein's guests. Rodriguez advised he had very limited contact with Mr. Epstein. If Rodriguez needed to relay a message to Mr. Epstein, he would have to notify Epstein's secretary, Leslie. Is it Leslie? Like Leslie Wexner? New York City, who would have notified Epstein's personal assistant, Sarah. Leslie is new anyway to me. So Leslie in New York would then notify Epstein's personal assistant, Sarah, who would relay the message to Epstein. Rodriguez stated Epstein did not want to see or hear the staff when he was in residence. I thought it was Adriana. I know Leslie Wexler. I don't know. Let's keep going anyway. I just got stuck for a second because previously it was stated Adriana, I believe, unless I'm remembering it falsely. So I am confused as to who Leslie is here and where did Leslie come from. Anyway, it goes on to say, asked Rodriguez if Epstein received many guests during his stay in Palm Beach. Rodriguez advised he had many guests. I asked specifically about masseuses coming to the house. Rodriguez stated that he would have 2 massages a day. Epstein would have 1 massage in the morning and 1 massage in the afternoon every day he was in the residence. Rodriguez stated he would be informed to expect someone and make them comfortable until either Sarah or Epstein would meet them. Rodriguez stated once the masseuse would arrive, he would allow them to enter into the kitchen area and offer them something to drink or eat. So that's who all the girls kind of saw as the chef. A few of the girls in their past testimonies or interviews with Detective Joe said, we would come into the kitchen and the chef would prepare us something to eat. So that was Rodriguez. Goes on to say, all right, they would then be encountered by either Sarah Callan or Epstein. I hate that girl got unscathed and didn't do any freaking jail time or like true embarrassment. Call Sarah Callan out. Fight me. They would be taken upstairs to provide the massage. I asked Rodriguez if any of the masseuses appeared young in age. He advised he didn't ask their ages, but felt they were very young. Rodriguez stated they ate like his own daughter, who was in high school. That's so sad. Rodriguez stated they would eat tons of cereal and drink milk all the time. Rodriguez stated the girls that would come appeared to be too young to be masseuses. He stated one time under Epstein's direction, he delivered a dozen roses to a high school for one of the girls that came to provide a massage. He knew the girls were still in high school and were of high school age. I asked Rodriguez about the massages. He felt there was a lot more going on than just massages. He would clean Mr. Epstein's bedroom after the alleged massages and would discover massagers and toys scattered on the floor. He also said he would wipe down the vibrators and toys and put them away in the armoire. He advised the armoire was as a small wood armoire which was on the wall close to Epstein's bed. Epstein ordered Rodriguez to go to the dollar rent-a-car and rent a car for the same girl he brought the roses to, so that she could drive herself to Epstein's house without incident. Rodriguez said the girl always needed rides to and from the house. Rodriguez referred himself as a human ATM machine and was ordered by Epstein to maintain a minimum balance of $2,000 on him at all times. When a girl would come by the house and Mr. Epstein was either not in residence or was not at home at the time, Rodriguez was to provide the girl, brackets, Miss Sue, several $100s for their time and to notify Epstein the amount they were given. Epstein would also order Rodriguez to purchase several gifts and provide them as tips to the girls. I asked what kind of gifts. Rodriguez stated he purchased iPods, jewelry, anything the girls would want. Rodriguez stated that the amount of girls that came to the house was approximately 15. Now, we remember Haley Robson says she herself brought 6 girls, but then as we kept reading through the interviews and everything, we saw that it wasn't just Haley, was just a small pod in the whole disgusting network. And so, like, he would get other girls and other girls from different areas to bring over their friends and pay them for it, with the stipulation that the younger the better. Continues on to say, Rodriguez stated he could not at the point. Rodriguez 15. Each of the girls knew each other and all seemed to know at who Mr. Epstein was. I think they all seemed to go to the same high school. I know who Epstein was. When asked to identify these girls, Rodriguez stated that he could not at the moment, but knew he wrote their names down on a journal he kept during his employ with Mr. Epstein. He kept a journal in the event he needed to explain either to Mr. Epstein or his assistant that was done at the house or who visited the house. As he stated, he was in charge of Mr. Epstein's personal security while in Palm Beach. I informed him I would need to view this journal, to which he stated he would research the book and contact me to provide the book. The interview was concluded and I left the area. I returned back to the police station where the microcassette was placed into evidence. At approximately 7:20 p.m., I was notified Rodriguez located the journal and will call me on January 5th, 2005 to provide the journal. And this ends this entry of the report. But I found something else related to Alfredo. Now, we will eventually go through the actual deposition so we can read word verbatim what was asked and how each person, each victim, each suspect, each person that was interviewed responded and acted in the case, so we have a full picture. But I also found something that I think you guys will find quite interesting. Give me a second. Found this in the trash full evidence that we had access to. There was this note, and I believe Alberto is Alfredo, because if you remember, if you haven't watched, or if you have watched the 3rd or 4th video that I did on Virginia Roberts' Billionaire Playbook Club, she states that Jeffrey Epstein liked to change his staff's names to suit more American names. It makes sense. Well, I change Alfredo to Alberto. Now, Alberto is seen to be his former employee. And I believe when everything kind of hit the fan, he kind of yeeted himself out of the whole saga. So I found this, and it states it's a letter that was in the trash and like crumpled up. This is a copy of it. I will show you how and why I believe it was crumpled up, because the original one, see, this is the original photocopy of it. Now let's read this one that's a little bit more legible. It says, Alberto, I received your short letter with great disappointment. Unfortunately, I cannot accept your resignation. I'm sorry, but it is not that simple to abandon a family member, no matter how frustrating or good looking he may be. That is Jeffrey Epstein. No, sir, with your mutated egg-shaped PP. Let's keep going. He says, If my appreciation for both you and your talent has not been adequately expressed, as you and I have not spoken directly, I apologize. As we haven't, I thought he was family. And Alfredo just said, I won't call you Alberto. Alfredo just stated that he rarely spoke to Epstein. He was just like, and Epstein didn't like to see or hear the stuff around them, around when he was at home. So now, trying to ingratiate himself to Alfredo, most likely, allegedly, I believe 1 and 1 plus 1 equals 2. He's trying to kind of like backtrack and keep Alfredo close because he knows about the investigation. While Alfredo is quitting because he does not want to be involved in this mess. Let's keep reading. Says, I'm sure you have forgotten, but you initially assured me that the island project would be done for last Christmas. I have always been both gracious and generous in forgiving the dates that have slipped by. I thought, a unique understanding. Now he's trying to guilt him into staying. Why last Christmas? Why didn't you tell him about it last Christmas? Goes on to say, Jean, who assured me the project would be complete at the end of July, when in fact, for example, till this day, there's still wooden packing crates for side tables in the living room, has yet to contact me. So now he's speaking about the island project. That's the USVI Little St. Jameson pedophile island. French are supposed to arrive, but even until today, I have not been told what and when to accept it. Why didn't you tell Alfredo this before, like a long time ago? He's trying to use guilt. Read it. Do not get gaslit, people. This is an example of someone trying to gaslight another person. Goes on, Alberto, it is your right to take on only jobs you want. It is both unfair, unfriendly, and unprofessional to simply leave a job undone in the middle. Why didn't you say this over a year ago, weirdo? This is not your way. I don't believe that you would treat a less friendly client with the same disregard. You are a pedo. He did the right thing by resigning. Freaking gaslighting. Jeffrey Epstein goes on to write, I would hope that you will reconsider the Big House Island project. As you know, we have bought many things for the interior and have incurred great expense to get permits, drawings in a Moroccan style. But if you choose not to move forward, I think at minimum my house should not be left in a state of disrepair in which it currently sits and should be brought to completion as soon as possible. If Jean, who I have great respect for, does not want to complete it, as I believe he's only an employee and I have my total relationship, not with Jean, but with Pinto, the obligation falls on you personally. Gaslighting. This is only right, and you know it is. As you are aware, I was so repeatedly that you'd call me upon return from your vacation and both visits and finish the project. You and I have more of a friendship than my receiving. In a frankly impolite way, only a letter and not even a phone call, I was repeatedly promised. However, I know you don't like tension. Please call me at your earliest convenience. I remain your friend. Jeffrey Epstein, you're such a creep. Whatever hell that you are in and deserve to be in, you're such a creep. Now, I believe from my memory of going through the different files and like connections, I believe at first Alberto did fall prey and accept to finish the project. And I believe Alberto was then witness to one of the girls trying to jump off the island. She tried to escape and swim. Because I believe in one of his other depositions, which we'll get to when we kind of start reading the depositions, he tells of a story of being in the kitchen on the island with a young girl who was crying. And she kind of like was blubbering about how like they had taken her passport and she was scared and she didn't know what to do and all this stuff. And then like Ghislaine Maxwell and I may be wrong, I think Eva Anderson, I believe, came and scooped the girl and took her away or something. I may be wrong about the Eva Dubin Anderson portion of it, but I know Ghislaine Maxwell and another woman came and took the crying girl away, and he did see her again after that or something like that. Anyway, Let's continue and keep reading the rest of our reports. Here's the Alberta letter that I just read out to you guys from Jeffrey Epstein that's trying to stop Alfredo from quitting. And I believe, I'm just assuming that is when like the police and the investigation started, he was smart enough to try and GTFO out of it, yeet himself out of that process. Okay, let's go back to the report and share the right report. Okay, so next one is January 5th, 2006. So now I believe this is a typo when he says January 5th, 2005, because as I was reading 2005, like my head, in the back of my head, my skull, I was like, I thought that's when it started. I thought we're in a new year. But it does look, that confirms it because the next date is January 5th, 2006. So again, just to restate it, Detective Joe's previous was actually in January, and looks it was just a typo that put just January 5th, 2005. Now we continue on. So on January 5th, 2006, I attempted to meet with Alfredo Rodriguez to recover the folder or journal in which he kept the notes that were given to him during his employ with Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. He kept this folder to justify what he did during his employee, should the need arise to justify what occurred with the monies he had to keep or any questions as to the petty cash he withdrew from the household account. At approximately 10 p.m., I attempted to contact with Mr. Rodriguez and discovered he was assisting his wife at her place of employment and would not be able to meet with me. Mr. Rodriguez stated he would meet with me on January 6, 2006 in Broward County in the morning hours. All right, then it goes on to state that on January 6, 2006, at approximately 9 a.m., I received a telephone call from Mr. Rodriguez, who advised me he had a file in hand and would be traveling northbound to meet me in Broward County. At 10:50 a.m., I met with Alfredo Rodriguez at the parking lot of Bank of America in Boca Raton on Yamato Road and Military Trail, known as Polo Center. Anyone in Palm Beach sounds familiar? Let us know. Oh, Broward. No, that's Broward County. Anyone in Broward County? Let us know. I wonder if they would do like, you know how they do like crime tours of like serial killers and stuff? I don't know if they ever would do that for Epstein. Well, the freaking entire government and so many people have been hiding this, so they would never get a chance to do it. But starting now, we got the names, we got the dates, we got the places, people. Like, share, comment, but make sure you subscribe and share this. Anyway, it goes on to say, Rodriguez produced a green folder which contained documents, a note with Mr. Epstein's stationery with directions to deliver a bucket of roses to underage victim after her high school drama performance. Also, in that same note was direction to rent a car for another victim and direction to extend the rental contract. I returned to the Palm Beach police station and placed the folder into evidence. And I almost can hear it, and I have to say, anybody out there who's looking at themselves like, well, they're not victims if they got a car. Like, that is the most ignorant, stupid thing you could ever think and say. So if you're one of those people that are looking at this, that is reading this, that is listening to this, and for some reason you think that it's justifiable what happened to these children and this women, check yourself. Sorry, let me keep going. Sorry, not sorry, but I will keep going. Next, it says, this is Detective Joe. I received a fax from Verizon for the subpoena request on the telephone numbers. The phone number is registered to Perry Bard from West Palm Beach. Dr. Bard is a chiropractor and has an office located at 4275 Okeechobee Boulevard in West Palm Beach. Cell number is Dr. Bard's personal cell number. And I believe, I don't have the time right now to go through all the message pads again, but we did see a Bard when we went through all the message pads. He just came from a chiropractor today. Goes on to say, on January 9th, 2006, Detective Carrizo and I traveled to 622 Holy Drive in Palm Beach Gardens in an attempt to locate Joanna Schoberg, who had been previously seen on the property and identified through her Florida driver's license and Florida license plate. She could have been one of maybe the 10 vehicles. I'm not sure. A business card was left for her to return my call. We then traveled, and this victim agreed to speak with us in a private room within the school provided us a tape statement. So obviously it's an underage minor victim, which is why she's redacted, and he is interviewing her at school. She advised that when she was 15 or 16 years of age, she was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's house by an associate. Stated this occurred late May 2004 or early June 2004. She was told she would model lingerie for money for a wealthy Palm Beacher. She remembered they traveled by yellow cab from their residence in West Palm Beach to Epstein's house. She remembered encountering Epstein at the front door during the evening hours. Okay, so now he's finally getting to talk to the daughter, whose father, he had just got permission for at the top of this video. And then it goes on to say, this is the victim saying about Epstein. He introduced himself and brought them into the kitchen so that the chef would prepare something for them to eat. Now we know that would be Alfredo. After having a meal, the other girl and Epstein brought her upstairs to a master bedroom, which had a large bathroom. She observed a large style shower, sauna, and there was a large massage bed also in the bathroom. Epstein entered a room within the bathroom and came out wearing only a towel. Heard this story multiple times, like deja vu. She said they would bring a massage. She said they will provide a massage on his feet. So that's the other girl that brought her, the other underage girl that brought her. So this girl asked the other girl why they're doing this. The other girl told her this was part of the routine and told her to rub his legs and calves. Epstein had told her to get comfortable. She continued rubbing Epstein's calves and feet at Epstein's direction. The other girl then left the room, leaving this victim there by herself. Epstein told this current victim to get comfortable. She removed her blouse and pants and she stated she was not wearing a bra. She believed she was wearing a thong. Epstein turned over onto his back and began to touch her. Epstein touched her and began touching her in the area. Epstein instructed her to rub his chest and rub his nipples. Epstein, everything that he does is perverted. For those people who are into a little nipple play, this is not about you. This is about the dirty perv getting little kids to do this for him. Continues. She stated that the touching consisted over her on the first time. He stroked her, but stayed on top of her panties. During the first massage, she stated Epstein was stroking her and began baiting himself at the same time. He put his hands under the towel and appeared to bait himself. However, she never saw his egg-shaped mutated. Let me keep embarrassing you even in death, Epstein. She continued rubbing his chest until he grabbed her and pulled her closer to him. He appeared to have, because after he pulled her closer to him, the massage was over. Epstein had told her that there was $200 for her on the dresser. He told her that she could not tell anyone what happened at the house or bad things could happen. She stated she went to Epstein's house 3 or 4 times in total. Similar to all the other girls, they all try and minimize what happened with Epstein. And then the second time they talk to the cops, they seem to always reveal more. So she continued, she was very scared and felt very nervous. She knew because of Epstein's money, he was powerful. After the massage, Epstein ordered his houseman at the time to drive the girls home. The employee was to drop off the girls at their house and watch them go inside their house. Continues to say she could not remember who the houseman was. She stated Epstein and his assistant, Sarah Callan, would call her at her father's house to arrange for her to come and work. Sarah Callan, by that way, Haley Robson is stated as a a suspect. She was 17 when they approached her, 18 when this investigation went through. Sarah Kellen was 25. 25 years old. She knew better. She knew what she did, and she did it to get access. She sold out young girls, still innocent girls, so she could get some sort of Hollywood fame and access. Keep going. All right, so it goes on to say, wait. They pulled up, she would rub, okay, come to work. She advised each time she returned to the house, Epstein would do the same thing. She stated it was a routine with Epstein, and she would rub his feet and calves. He would then turn over and begin to touch her on her area. The only difference was that it was done without Epstein's fingers would stroke her area as he would bait and finally climax, and the massage would be over. She was paid $200 each time she went. Each time she was reminded not to speak of what happened at the house, and that she would be contacted again. She began to purposely miss the calls when either Sarah Kellen, or Epstein would call her. She once brought a friend, unknown last name, to work for Epstein. She was paid $200 for bringing that friend. She stated she no longer returned to work for Epstein. She also stated that she wanted to notify the police of what happened at the house. She stated she was scared of what could happen to her or her family if she notified authorities. He threatened these girls. Next, it goes on to say, on January 10, 2006, I received results from the subpoenas from Bell South Telecommunication for the telephone numbers of the minor victims. The number assigned to her father. Also received results from Western Union, which confirmed the money order sent to another victim from Jeffrey Epstein. That was in the previous video. In New York City, the wire was sent by Jeffrey Epstein of 457 Madison Avenue in New York City on December 23rd, 2004 at 12:05 p.m. I think that freaking thing, that townhouse should be burned to the ground. Imagine all like the evil, the energy. Like, who would even buy that townhouse? Like, you're messed for wanting to own that property after we all know what happened. Sorry, digress again, but we continue. Says the amount of $222 was charged to Epstein's credit card so that she could receive $200. $22 was processing fee. A copy of the check presented was also attached to the receipt of the wire. This confirmed that what she advised. She received a Christmas bonus from Epstein. Investigation continues. Okay, ladies and gents, and all those in between. Now we move on to narrative number 35. This is still Detective Joe. And it says, Nikki A entered all this. But it states, I received and reviewed the singular wireless results from the subpoena request for subscriber information from the following telephone numbers. The first number is assigned to Giannis Benessia. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry, Giannis. In care of Jeffrey Epstein, 457 Madison Avenue in New York City. B is the current houseman/house manager for 358 Albria Way in Palm Beach, Florida. The second number is assigned to Christina Venero of Something Drive in West Palm Beach. Research conducted on Venero reveals she's a licensed massage therapist with a Florida conditional active license number. Venero had been previously arrested for battery, unwanted touching, and DUI. The company you keep. Requests for copies of the reports involving the arrest were requested from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. The last number is assigned to Thomas Rafrano of Alta in Palm Beach Gardens. Research on Mr. Rafrano revealed that he is a Florida chiropractic physician. So when he said he was very fond of massages and paid for the ballet, is this what he talked about? No, people. Disgusting. 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 Okay, continue. Vehicles that were previously documented on the property while surveillance was conducted were researched. Oh, now we find it. I determined a 10 Chevrolet Camaro bearing Florida licenses was seen on the property in which a young white female was seen entering the Epstein property. Research conducted that the vehicle is registered to Dash, who has two daughters. So two, like I was saying, a father, he has two daughters, is currently residing there in Connecticut. Is currently residing in Connecticut. And she is residing with her father. Father in Redacted. Research on them revealed she was recently involved in a traffic stop in Lake Clark Shore in May 19, 2005. A request to discover any information from the stop was requested. I also spoke with ASA Dahlia Weiss, who informed me that Yanez will be available for an interview tomorrow at the state attorney's office in West Palm Beach at 1:30 p.m. I informed her that I would be at her office for the interview. Now, if you've seen so far, Weiss playing ball. She's the one who's majorly like in contact with Detective Joe. She is working to get the employees lined up for interviews. She is signing all the subpoenas. Where's the subpoenas? And this is a subpoena. Share this in state. Yes. Here we go. Subpoena, you're commanded to the state's for Maria Alessi. So this is Juan's wife. See, Dahlia Weiss is trying at this point. But Dahlia is also, well, she's at a very, very minimal level, also involved in the grand jury, as she never does the questioning. That's Bell Hell who does the questioning. But Dahlia is also involved in the grand jury ceremonies, I guess we can say. Okay, back to the tab. Yes. All right. Now we move on to narrative number 36. So on January 19th, 2006, Detective Caristo and I met with Joanna Schoberg at 620 Holy Drive in Palm Beach Gardens. Schoberg was identified as a licensed massage therapist who had previously been seen on Epstein's property when physical surveillance was done. Schoberg was told of the ongoing investigation and felt she may have information pertaining to the case. During a sworn taped statement, Schoberg stated that she was attending Palm Beach Atlantic College to work around Epstein's house. Ghislaine Maxwell. This is like the first real input of Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell had told her that they needed some girls to work at the house to answer phones and run errands. Schoberg, this is similar to what Maria Farmer. Schoberg accepted the job and began working at Epstein's house on El Brillo Way in Palm Beach. Schoberg stated it was a part-time job during the time she went to Palm Beach Atlantic College. She continued going to Epstein's house and would be notified when Epstein would travel to Palm Beach. Schoberg advised she be notified by Maxwell, Epstein, or Sarah Kellen, his assistant, when he would travel to Palm Beach. Schoberg stated that she began providing massages to Epstein before she became a massage therapist. She continued giving massages not only to Epstein but to Nadia Marchinkova and Sarah Kellen, his assistants. Schoberg was asked about what occurred during the massage. She stated she was 23 years old when she met Epstein. Anything that happened was between two consenting adults. I explained to her that she was not in any trouble. However, as part of this investigation, I needed to ask her certain questions. Schoberg stated that there were times that Epstein would ask her to perform during the massage. He would instruct her to rub his nipples as he baited himself. Schoberg stated that she felt grossed out about the behavior, but she was getting paid. She just continued. Schoberg also advised she would on occasion perform the massages naked. Epstein would on occasion utilize them on her area, which she when she performed the massages. Schoberg explained that Epstein never exposed himself to her as he maintained himself covered under the towel he would be wearing when Epstein would bathe himself. He would be covered. As Schoberg if she ever received any gifts or any gratuities from Epstein, Schoberg advised, aside from being paid well, she advised Epstein took care of her tuition from Palm Beach Atlantic College. She received a rental car for a week when her scooter was broke down. I believe, if I remember correctly, we also saw a note, like on the message pad, that someone wanted to speak to Epstein about college. And also, in the USVI investigation videos, they use, after this whole went down in Palm Beach and he moved his grossness into USVI, he used the same thing. So Epstein would send people, or either him or part of his estate, to pretend they're part of like charitable organizations to find at-risk girls and offer to pay for their tuition, massage training, and then like offer their parents. This is in New York. So they saw it wasn't just Eastern European countries they were hunting. Even in America, they were hunting. They would find at-risk kids whose parents were not financially okay or unstable, who needed a little help. They would offer to support these families. They would offer to educate their students, their daughters, and then whisk them away for debauchery onto the island. So everything kind of stayed the same, and why not? Because he never paid for this until the end, until 2020 or whatever the heck happened. And so it goes on to saying, I asked Schoberg, okay, you said the rental keys. Additionally, she received other gifts from Epstein. Epstein also recommended her to another client who resides at Breakers Row in Palm Beach. The client she referred to was Glenn, unknown last name. It is not unknown that is Glenn Dubin, married to Eva Dubin, previously Eva Anderson, who also dated Epstein. Glenn Dubin also received a call from Virginia Roberts. That was her first, actually. I believe Glenn Dubin was her first massage client when she was 15. Clock that. Okay, it goes on to say, and his wife, Eva, who I just said, provided a massage to you. The statement was concluded and placed into evidence upon our return to the Palm Beach Police Department. Now, we also have Joanna's depositions here and during the Maxwell and Dershowitz defamation trials. Now, Joanna Schoberg actually testified as to Virginia's credibility when she stated that Virginia did tell her about her experience with Alan Dershowitz when she was still a minor, and that she believed Virginia to be true and not lying about what happened to her between her and Dershowitz when she was a minor. We'll get to that. I guess now I can say allegedly, but don't worry, people. We're going to look at the depositions and the notes that lock this dirty F up. Anyway, it goes on to state that while at the police station, I researched Florida tag, which was previously seen on the property. When there was a physical surveillance being done on the property, the vehicle is registered to a certain person. Researching them, so that's also a victim's father. Researching them, and the vehicle revealed that his daughter, of course, everything's blocked out because this is a minor, had been driving the vehicle and was cited for unlawful speed on Lake Clark Shores. The vehicle is tan. Oh, he's getting the subpoena back to understand what happened with that stop. So it says that she was just unlawful speed, so she was just speeding, and the vehicle's a tan Chevrolet Camaro 2-door. It goes on to say, I researched her date of birth and where she resides, and her MySpace page called blank, and her page shows various photos photographed of a beach. An interview is forthcoming. Then it goes on to say, for the last paragraph of this entry, he states, Detective Joe states, a review of the video discs, which was extracted at the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office Computer Crime Unit, revealed that only one hidden camera was functional at the time. If we remember, those two hidden cameras that Detective Joe found, one was in the garage disguised as a clock, and the second one was in Epstein's office, again disguised as a clock. Several images of Epstein working at his office were seen, so it must be the desk hidden camera, not the garage one. Additionally, footage of Sarah Kellen and Nadia Marchinkova was seen. There was other footage of females seen. The identity of the females is unknown at this time, until such time as I meet with certain females to show the video footage to confirm if in fact it is them on the video. At this time, it appears that victim and Haley Robson are seen sitting with Epstein beside his desk in the evening hours. Due to poor lighting, a direct confirmation cannot be made at this time. The picture of Epstein and Bennett, I wonder if that was off his hidden camera in the office too. Anyway, let's continue to the next report. Detective Ricari. This time it's January 25th, 2006. I was 16 at the time of this. Okay, so when little Sonia was still 16 and wilding out on the streets, thank God, I wasn't in Palm Beach or in Toronto, because we had our own little perv in Toronto who was doing the same stuff. But anyway, Detective Jones goes on to say, on January 25th, 2006, Detective Caristo and I responded and met with victims. Stated last year when she was 17 years of age. Again, we have how many? 5 victims or 17. And she was 17 years of age. She met Jeffrey Epstein through a former roommate. The roommate was allegedly dating Epstein at the time. We all know none of these young girls, these innocent girls, were not dating Jeffrey Epstein. It's the same way when trafficked girls think the pimp is their boyfriend. He's not your boyfriend. He's your abuser. He's your captor. He is your colonizer. He is not your boyfriend. What he's colonizing is your life, your soul, your vajayjay. Get him out. Okay, let's continue. So she goes on. When she was 17, she met Epstein from the roommate. The roommate was supposedly dating Epstein at the time. The roommate called her on her phone and advised her that she was in Palm Beach and requested to see her. She made arrangements to meet with her at Epstein's house. She arrived and met with Epstein and the other girl. She and the other girl went to the Palm Beach Mall together and went shopping. She advised that she and the other girl had received money from Epstein to go to the mall. They visited Victoria's Secret and purchased undergarments from the store utilizing monies given by Epstein. She advised she purchased one item and the other girl purchased various items. The money used to purchase the items was the money given by Epstein. Okay, let me apologize. Because I had read through this before, I got it confused. I got it twisted. So it looks like a different person went shopping too, or a different story of a person went shopping. I'll just stop. Let's read it. So she and the other girl continued shopping and having a day. But it still stands that Alan Dershowitz tried to paint her as a serial shoplifter from Victoria's Secret, Les Wexner's, the benefactor of Jeffrey Epstein's store. Let's keep going. She and the other girl continued shopping and having a day together. She stated that the other girl explained how she and Epstein had been dating each other, and he had been paying all of her bills. She claimed the other girl advised they met in New York and had been dating ever since. Going back to what I said before, that he was getting girls from New York too, and he was flying them out. He was flying them out for debauchery. Let's go. They later returned to Epstein's home and encountered Epstein. They had a brief conversation with the other girl about her modeling career. Let's also state, notice how the other girl is redacted. That's because she's a minor. This man is 45 or 50. 52, 45, 50. He is old. All right, let's keep going. He knew of her. He had a brief conversation with the girl about her modeling career. No, he had a brief conversation with this girl about her modeling career. He knew of her modeling career from her friend. He requested to see her modeling portfolio and explained that he could help her with modeling jobs. She had her book with her to show her friend and showed the book to Epstein. He commented negatively about her photographs and portfolio. She felt uncomfortable with the commute made as she had been working with other professional modeling companies who had offered her work from her photographs. Epstein requested to see what she had purchased at the mall. She took out the undergarments which were purchased. She immediately showed Epstein different sets purchased. So the other girl took out what she had and immediately showed Epstein. Then to this girl, she has purchased. Epstein then requested to view what this victim being interviewed had purchased. The victim was reluctant to show the outfit. However, since it was Epstein's money that purchased the item, she pulled it out of the bag. Epstein asked her to try it on. She looked at her friend who told her, yeah, try it on. Feeling compelled to try the undergarment outfit on, she went to another room and put on the bra and panty set. She walked out to the living room where they were sitting and modeled the suit. She then went back into the other room and changed back into her clothes. She returned into the room and told her friend she would be going home. The friend scheduled another day for her to return for massages with her. She probably walked in with an essence that he found threatening. She probably walked in with an essence that he wanted to shut down. So he's trying to break her down and make her insecure by negatively commenting. It's like, oh, you think you're a model? These are terrible. That could do two things. A, make her feel insecure about it and about her work and how she looks, hearing these negative comments. And B, it could also help potentially set him up later when he'll be like, oh, if anything happened or he wanted to like will her in or like anything else, he'll be like, let me help you with your terrible modeling pictures. So he's trying to make himself like, I know what's going on and you suck. That's my friend owns Victoria's Secret. It's very disgusting. It's men under the jail. Anyway, continues. She stated that within the same week, she returned to meet her friend and have a massage. Her friend had told her that she would be unable to stay with her as she would be going on a bike ride with Epstein. She explained she would stay at the house and take advantage of the massage. Okay, so I'm sorry. So it looks like, okay, they told her, oh, you should come back and get a massage here. So this girl now goes to the friend's house. So Epstein had offered her a massage. We all know that he treated massages as, what do they call it? Party favors for his guests. So again, that also further qualifies what I think. She had something about her that he knew he had to work a little bit harder to get her to do and be, to get her where he wanted her to be. So, like, unlike the other girls, because like she's driving a Camaro, her dad drives a Camaro, so obviously she comes from a different socioeconomic class than the other girls he was used to, kind of like cornering. So, with the first time, he enticed her a little bit by allowing her to go shopping. Then he broke down her boundaries, because that's what they do. They push her boundaries a little bit. The first instance was breaking down or like fogging up those boundaries by getting her to try on the outfit in front of him, and she felt compelled to because it was his money. He noticed that didn't work. So now he's inviting her back over again and says, hey, come and you can get a massage at my house. So he wants another time. I think at this point, Epstein is seeing her as a challenge. that he's trying to meet. So her story goes on to say she stated that she met with an unknown massage therapist and had the table already set up in the guest room. She removed her clothing, leaving her panties on, and wrapped herself with a towel for the massage that you would normally do at a normal spa. She remembered that the door to the guest room was closed but not locked. As the therapist was working her back, the door was opened by Epstein and entered into the room. She was trying to conceal herself as Epstein was talking to her about his chiropractic session. Epstein told her to turn over onto her back. She eventually turned over, exposing her to Epstein as he applied pressure on her shoulder and her waist. So now he's like done waiting. He's taking her by force. She stated Epstein popped her back. She removed herself from the table, got dressed, and left the house. She further stated that her friend had attempted to call her on several occasions to invite her back to Epstein's house, to which she replied, "I'm busy." She advised she had not made contact with either her friend or Jeffrey Epstein. It should be noted that her mother was present during the interview. The interview was concluded, and we thanked him for their time. Okay, so this is the first interview. We'll continue. And when I stop jumping ahead with stories, because I did, again, like I said, I did do a mini check through, like a mini read through. So things are popping out that frustrated me as I did the first scan. But honestly, this is the first time I'm actually reading it word by word verbatim. It's 133 pages. Well, technically this part only is 89 pages of the police notes. You don't need to know what the other pages are for now. We'll get to it. But yeah, let's go on and continue to it. So it says on January 27, 2006, Detective Joe writes, I made telephone contact with Christina Venero. Remember, Venero is a licensed massage therapist who had frequented the home of Jeffrey Epstein. Miss Venero had been unable to meet with me in Palm Beach County, and because she lives and works in Port St. Lucia, is that Port St. Lucia or Port St. Lucia? A telephone interview was conducted. I explained to Miss Venero that there was an ongoing investigation involving Jeffrey Epstein. Let's see where Port St. Lucia is. Oh, Port St. Lucie. I was thinking Lucia, but that looks like it is in Florida as well. Is that a bayou? They call them bayous, right? Looks like it's a town in Florida. All right, let's continue. All right, where are we? Venero. Venero stated she knows Epstein and has been employed by him for approximately 3 years. Epstein had paid Venero to perform Swedish massages, deep tissue on him and other guests. Venero explained that approximately 3 years ago, when she met Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein through a mutual friend, Epstein and Maxwell were looking for a massage therapist. Venero stated since that time, she is notified when Epstein is coming to Palm Beach. Venero stated that she comes to his house and provides the massage or massages. Venero explained that she has also massaged his guests and assistants. Venero continued that she is paid $100 an hour for the massage. I asked Venero if anything occurred during the massage that would have made her feel uncomfortable. Venero stated she only provided massages and that was it. She never was approached for anything else. I asked if Epstein ever asked her to rub his chest, and she stated she would not rub his chest as that is not part of her massage. Venero explained that she was not Epstein's type. The girls she would see at Epstein's house were very thin, beautiful, and without tattoos. Venero explained she has several tattoos that are visible. Maxwell and Epstein have commented negatively about her tattoos previously when she was provided the massages. Venero stated she only provided massages for Epstein and his associate, and nothing happened during those massages. Venero stated, as she does Swedish-style massages, the patient is usually sore after the massages. I thanked her for her assistance, and the interview was concluded at this time. I received a facsimile from T-Mobile cellular service on on a phone number. The phone number is assigned to David Rogers, a pilot for Mr. Epstein, who resides in Lake Worth. Telephone number was dialed on several occasions by Sarah Callan. A background of Rogers indicated he has a valid FAA pilot license, first class for the Southern FAA region. Rogers has another historical FAA license for airline transport pilot. Investigation continues. Almost coming to the end of this because I'm trying to keep it 124. Yeah, I'm trying to keep it kind of like around the hour under 2 hours. So let's finish this narrative number 39, and then we'll continue with the end of the narrative. And we're about 124 over 133. So we're coming to the end of the police notes. Here we go. So Detective Joe writes, on Friday, February 3rd, 2006, I made arrangements to meet with Joanna Harrison at the Palm Beach Police Department. At approximately 1 p.m., Harrison and her friend Victoria Bean arrived at the police station. During an interview with Harrison, she stated she met Epstein when she turned 18 years old and was brought to Epstein's house to provide a massage. She advised this occurred on May of 2005. She advised Haley Robson had informed her if she wanted to provide a massage for $200. Harrison agreed and was brought to Epstein's house to provide a massage. Continue. Harrison agreed and was brought to the house on many occasions during the massage sessions. Harrison also stated she would remove her clothing to provide the massage on Epstein. Harrison advised Epstein would pay her $300 to rub his back, legs, and chest. How many were 18? 4 of them were 18 at the time of the investigation. Harrison replied, during the massages, Epstein would bait himself as he rubbed his chest. I asked her if Epstein ever touched her during the massages. Harrison replied, yes. I asked her if Epstein ever touched or massaged her. Harrison stated that he had on several occasions. I asked if he ever penetrated her with either his or any other objects. Harrison stated that during a massage, he inserted his fingers in her as she massaged him. She stated this occurred one time only. Harrison stated the massage would be over when Epstein was onto a towel. I asked Harrison if she had any formal massage training, to which she replied that she did not, like everybody else. Harrison was then asked if she ever brought anyone to the house to work. Harrison stated she brought 2 people to the house. She advised she received money for bringing people to the house to work. Harrison stated she brought a girl and her friend Tori Bean. Bean was still waiting for Harrison in the lobby of the police station. I thanked Harrison for her time and her cooperation and escorted her to the lobby. I asked Miss Bean if I could speak with her about this investigation. I brought her into the interview room and explained to her that I was conducting an investigation on Jeffrey Epstein and felt that she may have information pertaining to the investigation. Miss Bean identified herself as Victoria Bean and resides in Wellington. She advised approximately a year ago she was brought to Epstein's house to provide a massage for money. Bean stated she needed to make money and felt it was a quick way to make some money. Bean stated she was brought to the house by Harrison and was introduced to Epstein and his assistant. She was brought to his main bathroom and provided a massage. I asked her if she provided the massage naked. Bean stated she did. She rubbed Epstein's legs, back, and chest. I asked Bean if Epstein touched her during the massage. She advised he did not. However, he did bait himself as she rubbed his chest. Once the massage was over, she was paid her money and left the area. Bean advised it occurred one time and she never returned to the Epstein house. The interview was concluded and Bean was escorted to the lobby. Detective Joe continues to write. I located a phone number for a minor and attempted to contact her on several occasions. I called the minor and spoke with her mother, who advised me she would speak with me in where she resides. Due to a scheduling conflict, we were unable to meet. I informed her I would contact her to schedule another appointment to speak with her about this investigation. I have attempted to meet with her and make telephone contact with negative results. He continues, on February 13, 2006, I met with David Rogers at 7313 in Lake Worth. Rogers was identified as Epstein's pilot. I spoke with Rogers who advised he has been employed with Epstein since 1991. Not even. Oh my goodness. I think I had just graced the world and the universe at 1991 with my presence. Rogers was asked about passengers in the plane he flies. Rogers stated unless Epstein flew to his island off of St. Thomas, there would be no way of knowing who the passengers were. I mentioned a recent flight to Ohio where Rogers flew to Ohio to pick up redacted minor. Rogers stated he recalled flying on several occasions and did remember the minor. Rogers stated once he is in the cockpit, he does not know who is in the passenger. Did he did remember? Okay. Who the passengers are. When he prepares the passenger manifest, he lists Epstein and his assistants he knows by name, Sarah and Adriana. Rogers stated he would list either female or male passengers on the manifest only to keep count on the passengers. Mrs. Rogers came into the living room and recommended that her husband consult with an attorney. Mr. Rogers agreed he would speak with the family attorney to inform him of this questioning. I explained to Mr. Rogers that he was not the suspect in this investigation and ceased all questions. Based on the fact that Rogers could not advise who passengers were in the plane, I left the area. I then attempted to locate two other minors. I left my business card for her to return my call. On February 14, 2006 at 12:06 p.m., I received a call back from the mother. The mother left her cell phone number for a return call. I left a message to return the call. Investigation continues. All right, I think I'm going to end it here for now. We're over. We're about an hour 30, 40-ish that we are on right now. I do this so not to overwhelm you with all the data and facts, and I want you to keep coming back. So again, if you have not yet hit that subscribe button, comment below all the way. Every episode, as you read, spit out your thoughts, your emotions. Let's have a gab event session, a healing session in these comments about this whole disgusting saga. Again, I do have a Substack available where you would be able to download the actual files yourselves if and when you would like to. I will also be uploading more fuller content on the Substack and keeping the PG version, the censored version, on YouTube. Thanks so much again for watching. Thank you for supporting. Please share this so we can continue to let the truth out and stand with the victims and tell their stories. I will see you next time, where I believe we'll be rounding it up and completing the police investigation notes before we go into the grand jury testimony files and transcripts for the Jeffrey Epstein crime. Nightmare? American Nightmare, for the Jeffrey Epstein American Nightmare. I am Sonia, and this is the Unredacted Truth. I'll see you next time.